Today I want to talk to you guys about social stories. So, what is a social story? A social story is just a set of expectations or a set of behaviors that we look for, we want someone to follow along with when they interact in maybe a public space, a private space, or maybe there's something new about what they're doing. So, going to a new place or trying something new, or you're just looking for a specific behavior from them. So, a positive behavior is usually what we're seeking when we use a social story. So, this can be helpful if somebody has maybe a cognitive impairment. So, that can range anywhere from someone that has maybe severe autism, or maybe even someone that has dementia. So we're looking at a wide range of different types of people that could benefit from using a social story. So today, I would like to go over the University of Findlay Mazza Museum social story with you. I got to help collaborate to create the social story during my doctoral capstone. So today, let's take a look at it. Notice here, as we look at our first page, that they use the actual museum as the main piece here. What it's doing is it's just allowing them to see that expectation of this is what the outside of the museum looks like. So today I'm going to the Math Museum. I need to know the rules before I go to the museum, so letting them know there are rules. So using icons like these, familiar icons, act as universal symbols to understand what am I going to have to do. So I can touch the books below the artwork, but not the art. I can walk in the museum, but I will not run. I can talk quietly in the museum. I can stay with my group. So using that positive language is a really good pattern of reinforcement here. When I see the 4 kids on a log with a dog statue, I know we are near the main entrance. So what you guys will notice, because since I helped create this and I have reviewed it many, many times, I know we start here. This is where our setting begins. We're trying to simulate, okay, this is where we will begin, this is where we will end. So we will start and end at the statue. So I can pull the door open, showing them where they can pull the door open, or hit the accessibility button. So here's the accessibility button and allowing them that choice ahead of time to see they have that option. When I walk in the main entrance, the Mazza Museum gift shop will be on my right. So letting them know that expectation. I can go to the gift shop after I visit the museum. So giving them the order or the sequence of what we are going to be doing when we go to the museum. I will walk down the hallway to the Lake Great Hall with Bessie, the Lake Erie monster. So providing a landmark for them so they know where that is, and if they for any reason get separated from their party, maybe they know, okay, we can go to Bessie and that is where we will meet. Then I will see the main office and museum entrance. So allowing them to know the expectation of what is coming and where it is. Before I go in the museum, I can put my coat and bag behind the brick wall near the restrooms. So seeing the brick wall, letting them know this is the brick wall we're referring to. The restrooms must be back here. I can see where I can hang my coat and put my bag. So giving them an idea of that in the meantime. I can use the restroom or get a drink at the refill station before going in the museum. So showing them you have an option. You can go to the restroom or you can get a drink. If I do not have my own water bottle for the refill station, I can ask the main office for a cup. So alleviating any anxieties of what happens if I forget my water bottle. If I need it, I can ask the main office for a sensory support kit. So showing them that, okay, maybe if some of my sensory needs are not quite being met when I am visiting the museum, they have something available for me and something that will help me if I don't bring my own sensory support kit items. And then setting that expectation, I will return everything before I leave. So they understand this is borrowed and this belongs to the museum and they have to leave it here when they go home. When I enter the museum, I will see a docent. They are nice, and I can say hi. The docent has information, maps, and can help me if I have a question. So this allows them to know that the person here is friendly, they are someone on the staff, they are safe, and they're someone that can help you go through the art and go through the books and get more information about what you are looking at in the museum. And of course, they can always answer your questions. The map can tell me where things are at in the museum. So what this does is it allows us to make a connection to if the docent or the host in the museum decides to share a map with the guest, right? This allows them to know, okay, it is okay that they are sharing this with me. I have a good understanding of the fact that what they're offering me is going to help me. So that may make them want to listen. The Mazza Museum has lots of art to look at. I can pick up books below the art and look through them. I will not touch the art on the walls or in display cases. So just reinforcing the rules here, because sometimes once you get to maybe halfway through your visit, this could happen where we start to forget the rules because we're just so engulfed in all of the art and all of the books, we might forget that we can't touch the original works. Some of the artwork has a video about the story that inspired it. The video is on an iPad that I should not touch. If the video is too noisy, I can ask the docent to turn the volume down. So one of the 2023 exhibits had an iPad of the Tuskegee Airmen and a piece of their story and their history. So it was a very cool piece to have, but the problem that we would sometimes run into is it would startle visitors. So in order to avoid that, we've now noted you may run into this in a gallery. There's always that possibility, but pointing it out of where it's at and reminding others that please not to touch the iPad as it is also part of the exhibit, and also to remind them that if it is too loud, they are more than welcome to request the staff to turn it down, as we understand sensory sensitivities and noise can be a little much sometimes in a quiet museum. The Mazza Museum has many galleries, including the Leho Gallery. The pictures come off the walls in this gallery. This is so cool, but I will not touch the art on the walls. So the Leho Gallery is known for our pop-up books, or rather our paper engineering. So in this gallery, the books really do come off the walls. These are original pieces of pop-up book art. And because of this, we don't want to destroy the art. We would like to preserve it as long as possible. And part of that is reminding others that we do not want to have you touching it. It could destroy it. So just another reminder that this is so cool and it's super tempting to touch in this gallery, but we still want to refrain. When I am done visiting the museum, I can look at the Mazza mural search. I can search for the items listed on the board beside the mural, or I can just enjoy the art. So circling where they can look for those items and reminding them that this is only optional. They don't have to do this. And then next I have here, if I cannot find all of the items, I can ask the main office for the answer key to the mural. So it's important to note here, if you are looking at this video for any training purposes, or maybe even you're just curious about the Mazza Museum and you've watched this far, what we have at Mazza is this mural dedicated to us. And these are questions that ask us pieces about the mural to try and find these items. But sometimes we might have trouble if we don't always know, like, what is the symbol of education? Well, if somebody, let's say, has dementia and they don't know that the symbol of education is an apple because maybe they've progressed that far in their journey. If that is the case, at least we have another version available where anyone from a small toddler all the way through someone in late stages of dementia might be able to match the images now. So looking at the picture of an apple and matching it to an apple on the painting. Next, I can go look at the children's art exhibit from local elementary school students. So looking at this exhibit, and it's important to note that these are from kids within the community, the local community, and trying to foster that sense of respect for others' art and their creativity and inspirations. Then I can look at the Cheryl McNish Gallery of Art from people with physical and mental disabilities. So again, making that community connection and respect for art as well. At the end of the hallway, the resource center will be on my left and the gift shop will be on my right. So setting that expectation, having the gift shop over here and the resource center over here. I can go to the resource center and check out a library book. I can borrow the book and bring it back later. So showing this is the resource center and where I can return that book later. The resource center has lots of books. Here, I can ask the friendly librarian if I can look at books I saw in the art when I was in the museum. If the resource center is closed, I can come back another day. So providing that other option. So what happens if they're in? What do they do next? Well, they can always talk to the librarian. They can engage with the books. But let's say it's closed. They know that there is another opportunity to be able to engage. Next to the resource center on the left is the Mazza tile search. I can play the tile search game, or I can just enjoy the art. So showing them where the tile search is located, what the tiles look like, and understanding that it is only optional to engage in this game. When I am all done, I can ask to go to the Mazza Museum gift shop. I can ask to get a favorite book, a piece of art, a puppet, or a drink from the cooler. It is okay if I do not get anything from the gift shop. So when we're looking at this, just acknowledging there's a lot of options here for someone to choose from. But at the same time, acknowledging it is okay if they choose not to get anything this time, because not everybody always gets something from the gift shop, and it is okay to encourage that learning behavior of understanding that maybe we don't always get something at the store when we go. When I am done in the gift shop, I can go get my coat and bag from where I left them. So showing this picture again and understanding, okay, we're returning and we're getting ready to leave. These pictures are going to start looking more familiar. If I borrowed a sensory support kit, I will return it to the main office before I leave. So reminding them, if we borrowed something, we have to put it back. After I grab my belongings, I will leave the museum from the door I came in. Visiting the Mazza Museum was lots of fun. I am always welcome to come back to the museum. So here we end the story, right where we began. Our journey started here and we're ending here. So this helps as a visual cue where it is all where we start and where we end. So making sure that we try to keep that end cap on our social stories to help bring it full circle, so it brings a sense of understanding and clarity for those who are reading it and those who need it most. If for any reason you have any questions about social stories or anything about the University of Findlay's Mazza Museum social story, feel free to reach out to me at accessotlex@gmail.com. Thanks. Have a great one.